Kabuchi to the freed.
Ugh.
Booch. We playing Booch ball. Booch. We playing Booch ball.
Greetings, Boochies of planet Earth. Greetings, Boochies of planet Earth. What is this show? Beep, boop, meep, meep, mop, meep, meep. Oh, whoa, hello, and welcome to Earth. This is Booch Ball, the only podcast in the universe talking kombucha and college sports. I'm Alex, and I'm joined as always by my lovely co-host Freed. And I always ask Freed how he's doing over there. Surely you're doing well, Freed?
What's happening? I'm doing well for the doing that I'm in. Was that the ARM bot? What was that?
That was like an alien, kind of. That was an ancient alien.
Spacious.
Spacious, dude. Hell yeah. Welcome to Booch Ball. Freed is sick today.
Again.
Oh, no.
This is getting out of control.
What do you mean again? Were you sick recently?
I think I was sick when we did our last episode, which was
really
a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing, now that we're in season 5 of Booch Ball, there's less of a need to do like a weekly thing. We both lead very busy, complex lives, and there's only so much time in a day, or a week, or a month, or a year.
Alex, do you realize how much stuff in the Miami football world has happened since our last episode? Like multiple seasons have come and passed.
It's true. It's been a big, this has been quite the year. Miami stands currently 6-0 coming out of a bye week.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk?
Yeah, but I mean, last time we were talking, we were getting ready to go to Virginia Tech, feeling great.
Feeling real confident.
Just like 2023, we were feeling great going into Georgia Tech, but this time is different, at least in the way these games ended. Miami found a way, and like you said, we're 6-0. We won't go back into previous history. That's for the time travelers, the space aliens. We're looking forward. We had our bye week, and
what is pass interference? What is pass interference?
What is targeting? No, we still don't know.
The aliens, we know targeting. That is how we've targeted our sites on Earth, and that's why we are here. It's different from the ETF5 bot, which is more of a boop, 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 beep, and he doesn't speak, remember?
Right.
So the alien, it's Alex the alien is what it is.
He does math. The ETF5 bot does math.
Freed, I went into
play math.
Shit, I can't hit a ball to Booch Ball. I started getting, I don't know how this happened, but I can see how people get into these like red pilled Joe Rogan like zones. Because I got into like a YouTube thing that was like a guy going through like these like crazy conspiracy theories about how aliens, like it's the whole ancient alien thing. About how there were actual aliens first. Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. It's just believable enough. And it's just like you can't really prove it wrong.
I mean, it kind of makes a lot of sense if you think about it, or if you don't think about it.
Exactly. It's backed by like no real science. But it's a fun little story to get into. And I was like kind of like having fun with it. And then I was out at a bar. I played this like little like this comedy show. So I was talking to a bunch of comedians about it, and they were just like, this sounds like the dumbest thing ever. Like, this is such bullshit. And then I was like, oh, yeah, it's maybe not cool to like tell a bunch of people about this YouTube video I saw about how aliens are like.
Well, you're telling a bunch of people now. Let's get off the aliens
and back into soup season, Freed.
We made chili this week. We made curry this week. Yeah, fall is here, isn't it?
Fall is here, Freed. I just made a delicious soup. And
I feel like you're a butternut squash kind of guy.
You fucking nailed it, Freed.
Really?
Yep. So what I did was I had a container of butternut squash soup, but I also had like a big bag of sweet potatoes that I'd had lying around for a while and were gonna go bad. So what I did is that I boiled all the sweet potatoes, and I had recently watched a TikTok by Matty Matheson. I think that's his name. That like big fat chef who has all the tattoos, who's also in The Bear. He was making a soup, and he was like pureeing and making like a tomato soup. So then I like broiled up some tomatoes with some jalapenos, red onion, put it into the container with the sweet potatoes. Then I got my food processor out, which I haven't taken out in a while. It's basically just a blender. Then I blended it all together, and then I combined it in with the butternut squash soup. And boy, oh girl, Fried, was that a delicious soup.
You go, girl.
Hell yeah, it was so good. And Fried, very apropos, because on today's episode of Booch Ball, we're going back to an old favorite. Have a nice trip. See you next fall edition. It's segment 1. What we're drinking.
Okay. Look at the sediment in this bad boy. We got our ginger. We got our carrot. We got our apple. We got our fall spices. We are caked with sediment.
Of
course, we're talking about Living in Gratitude. GT's fall edition, introduced to the show probably 2 to 3 seasons ago. We had my friend and coworker Nick Danger on to tell us about why this is his favorite kombucha.
That's right. I forgot about Nick Danger.
What's
next? Carlos Danger?
We'll see him next weekend. I'll tell you what, though. I cracked open my first fall edition of the season last week. I texted Nick and I was like, yo, it still slaps.
I haven't had this yet. This has been sitting in my fridge for a little while. Let's go ahead and crack this sucker open, Fried. Oh, didn't have much of a pop on my end. I said there's more pop on your end. You must have inversed it more. So it's Living in Gratitude. There's like a heart-shaped tree on the outside, and then there's like these hands that are covered in like what I can only assume to be henna style tattoos.
It's very yogi-esque.
This is like classic. This is like a step away. This is pretty close to like being chuggy. You know about being chuggy, right?
No.
Being chuggy is like buying a wooden sign that says "Live, Laugh, Love" at Target.
Oh, yeah.
That's being chuggy.
Yeah, that sounds
momcore.
Sounds like my house. Okay, so
I had a feeling
I was a little off. There's no ginger in this, surprisingly. I guess maybe the cider spices have ginger, but it's turmeric. So apple,
that's
turmeric,
why there's such a big
spices. Very orange kombucha.
Oh yes, it's earthy.
Smells delicious and earthy. The earthiness really balances the apple. I am starving for Booch.
I'm jonesing for this. So let's go ahead and take our little sniff test and then a taste test. Well, we already did the sniff test, I guess. Bombs away.
I overjonesed.
He was too excited. You're definitely congested in your. Can you breathe through your nose normally? That's a no.
One side is.
That's congested. A no. You're a deviated septum brethren of mine, right? You've got a deviated septum for sure.
I don't know.
I've never been more sure of anything in my life that you have a deviated septum. Have you ever been to an ear, nose, and throat doctor?
No.
I've been to a couple because of my acid reflux and things like that. But I have some sinus issues. And the doctor was like, he literally drew me a picture that I have framed somewhere in my apartment. And he was like, here's what a regular nose should look like. Here's what your nose looks like. And it was like so inflamed. And also there was a deviated septum. So he got me on some allergy medicine. And I am breathing much easier these days, but still having some trouble breathing. That's why we're both little nasal boys.
Okay. Yeah. Send me a picture of that and maybe I'll go see an ENT.
And then mine's not severe enough that I can still breathe. But see, it takes a little laboring. And especially when you're sleeping, it's really bad for you to breathe it through your mouth when you're sleeping and in general.
Yeah, I'm sure Dr. Dolphus can speak to that.
What do you think of this when my nose does this?
You look like an Arkansas Razorback. Little Piggly Wiggly.
Ooh, Pig Suey. All right, Fried, I'm going to, before we get into what we're thinking, I will be reading the little fall poem that they have on the Living on Gratitude bottle. I will be doing this in the style of a picture it. It's a mid-October evening in let's say we are in Northampton, Massachusetts, a small little liberal arts college town. Lots of they them happening in that area. I am speaking at a coffee shop that is also like a tea shop in the after hours. They do not do alcohol. They are a safe alternative space
You
to
are
a typical bar
wild.
structure. So this is the poem that I'm reading there. The gift of the present. I've found that when we dwell on what could have been and wait for what could be, we take the present for granted. Living in gratitude unleashes joy in the now and nourishes your soul. In this one precious life we are given, may you savor the blessings in front of you and pay them forward with kindness. Oh shit, there's also a prayer of gratitude. We'll save that for the break.
Damn, dude.
I'm going to read the prayer of gratitude at my family's Thanksgiving.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right, Free. That's enough about this Booch. By the way, this is a good one, by the way.
Yeah, it's so good.
This is a good, like, healthy. Not that apple cider like isn't necessarily healthy, but I'm sure there's tons of sugar in it.
It's a little sweet. This earthiness, it just balances nice.
I saw a tweet. Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
I was just going to note that I feel like last year I realized that I think they added more cider spices than they had a few years previous. I feel like this is like the second generation of Living in Gratitude.
Yeah,
they wouldn't admit that. They wouldn't admit that, but I know.
I think you're right. I saw something on Twitter today that was somebody talking. They were talking about ginger beer. They were like a spicy ginger beer is one of the last true elixirs left in this world. And I was like, nah, like literally kombucha, like is an elixir. It's like kombucha, and then there's like those like ginger shots that you can get.
Yeah.
Like those little plastic bottle things.
If we're talking ginger ale, ginger beer, like by far the best one is Reed's premium ginger beer. Just throwing that out there. Not a kombucha though. Not a kombucha.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like we're already talking about what we're thinking, but let's make it official, Freed. It's now time to tell you what we're thinking.
What we're thinking.
Freed, we're winging this episode here, but
so hard.
One thing that we're thinking is that we're at the halfway point of the season. Canes are 6-0. We are recording this on Wednesday, October 16th. We will be looking forward to play Louisville at Louisville. Louisville being a 4-2 team. Currently, Miami's favored by 5 points. Freed, what are you thinking about the season so far?
Well, we're 6-0. I think before the season started, we did our season picks.
That's true. I already said that though. You have to
yeah, but it's good. It's good.
Does
to
it
be
bear
6-0.
repeating?
It's good to be 6-0. I think I said we were going to win 9 games. I think you said we were going to win 8.
Probably. I probably was being very pessimistic.
I was torn.
I feel like you said 10 games, bro.
You think? I might have. I very well might have. You think you said 9? I don't know.
No, I think I probably said 8. I think I probably said 8 regular season, 9 with a postseason victory with a bowl game win.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, I mean, 6-0
could still happen.
Miami could very easily be 4-2 right now, and this conversation would look a little different. But we kind of feel like we almost lost those last 2 games. It's nice to win games in that fashion for once, because your record doesn't reflect that you feel bad, and that we tempered our own expectations while still winning football games, which is kind of fun. I think Cam Ward has been, as advertised, probably better than advertised for 90.
I'd say better than advertised.
For 90 to 95% of the season. There was 1 to 2 quarters, maybe you could say, in both of the past 2 games where he was just not good and we got into a hole. But yeah, Cam Ward has been spectacular, at least from an entertainment perspective. Because even when he's been bad, he's still been pretty entertaining in those few drives that he's been bad. So that's
Could we say Cam-mazing? Could we get that off the ground?
amazing.
Cam-mazing. Or Cam-mazing. Let's reach out to the Canes connection and see if we can get some t-shirts made up.
Yeah, okay.
Split
I'm
it.
not against it.
80-20 our way.
He's him. Yeah. Let's see. Damian Martinez, underwhelming. I think we were expecting him to be that clear-cut number one back, and he's been getting the number one back carries, but I think the eye test would show that Mark Fletcher has looked better whenever he's been out there.
I think it's made us appreciate Mark Fletcher even more. Like, Mark Fletcher was already like a solid number one option for us.
I will say I am very impressed with Mark Fletcher this year. I was worried that he was not going to be the same coming off this injury. I think in the season preview, I discussed my concerns that he was going to be not in football shape and, slower than he was last year, which he was already kind of slow last year. But he is looking explosive and he's looking like a number one back. So he's looking great. Also, in the running back room, Jordan Lyle, as a true freshman, being the third running back, was not expecting that, but he's also looking pretty good, although still maybe a step behind Martinez and Fletcher. But it's good to have a lot of different options. We haven't really seen Chris Johnson make the explosive plays. He's been out there. There's kind of a clear attempt to get him involved once or twice a game. The kick returns.
He's had some plays. I saw somebody say that he's like, we trot him out for like one like big screen pass every game, and like that worked for the first like 2 games of the season, and now like the one time we bring him on, they're like, okay, they're obviously passing it to him, so we'll just cover him.
Yeah,
and he doesn't really get another chance.
I think there's so much they could do with him, and like to your point, he needs to be used as a decoy just as much as he needs to be used as the focal point. I think I like to hope, at least coming out of this bye week, we'll see a few fun wrinkles involving him, potentially Elijah Lofton, who has also been involved heavily as a true freshman and made an impact. We might not have won against Cal if he doesn't make that 30-yard jumping catch kind of on a deep seam, which, I mean, Lofton's been great. The tight end room as a whole has been great.
Speaking of Elijah Arroyo has been, I think we were all like, I feel like he's like almost as advertised. I feel like everyone's been like, he was pretty hyped going in.
Yeah.
And I've been pleasantly like, not surprised, but I've been like, what's the thing where like you're just pleasantly satisfied. By something being true?
He's answered the call, because I think a lot of people preseason said this guy is going to come and he's going to be an impact player. And he's been really good catching, really good blocking. And against Virginia Tech, that play where he hawked down former King Caleb Spencer on that interception, I think it needs to be stated again. Elijah Arroyo ran probably 140 yards on that play. That was
counting his initial route. Yeah.
His initial route. He started on one side of the field, motioned across, ran like a 30-yard route, and then from one corner of the field all the way to the other, which is over 100 yards.
Yeah.
He ran that play down from behind, saved a touchdown, and ultimately probably saved that game for Miami. So that's crazy. But yeah, he's been good. And just the tight end room usage in general, there was a lot of slack on that last year. And the tight ends have been involved and heavily utilized. And,
you know me, Freed, I love a tight end. Also, the X Factor.
Yeah. Restrepo has
He's had some season-saving plays as well.
Dude, once again, exceeding expectations. I mean, it's hard to look at this guy and say anything other than like just elite for what he is, which is, the possession slot, Hispanic.
Oh yeah,
light skin,
he's white
Hispanic.
But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, multiple catches on fourth
See?
downs, the catch on the butt, like he's just done things to push us forward. And he's also the leading receiver in the ACC by far. So we love having the X. Other receivers, maybe we can say, haven't stepped up as much as we were hoping. Isaiah Horton's probably been the second best receiver this year. I think he's kind of answered to the expectations that we had of kind of stepping up and becoming the type of guy who he could be and filling the Colby Young role. Jacoby George, not as much, but he's been hurt. So maybe we cut him a little bit of slack and hope that after the bye week,
cut him a little bit of
comes
slack.
out fresh. Hey, why not?
What's the worst?
We cut some slack.
Got a couple of penalties here and there. What's up with the penalties, by the way? What's going on there? We did like a game where we didn't have any penalties, and we are like, oh,
yeah. Early in the season, it was looking good, and then we've kind of regressed back to the norm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to chalk up too much here or there. I think you just got to refocus and lock it in, and that's all you can do.
There you go.
That's all you can do.
Good coaching.
Before we cut out of receivers, the transfer from Houston, Sam Brown.
You're freezing for me.
I'm freeding. Thoughts on Sam Brown? I feel
you're
like
freeding on my end. I don't know.
I feel like Sam Brown.
Please continue, please.
Okay. Sam Brown, receiver, transfer. There was hope he would come in and be the number one guy, and I think it's clear that that's not going to happen.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. That's good. I feel like we're good on the offensive side. We haven't seen too much Ruben Bain. We saw a bunch of Tyler Barron, and now we don't see him anymore. What happened with that?
Yeah. So last season at Tennessee, he had like 90% of his sacks in non-conference play, and then kind of disappeared for the rest of the year. And I think we're trending towards that. But having Bain back should help. I think once he became the focal point for the defenses, things maybe changed. But I mean, Miami's concerns, as we were worried about preseason and then stopped worrying about for a couple games, but we're way back to worrying. It's the secondary. The secondary is the concern. We have Damari Brown has been out all year, and we have true freshman OJ Frederick came out of absolutely nowhere to start the season as a starter. He's been good. It's really been the more experienced guys that have been shaky. And I think it's a big test for Guidry going into Louisville, because Louisville cooked us last season. And our defensive coordinator, Coach Guidry, needs to come out with a game plan. And the defense just needs to not give up 21 points in the first half this week. Pretty simple path.
Sounds good to me.
Pretty simple path. Before we get off
sounds like they need to lock in, like you were saying before. I think that's really good analysis.
I mean, you got to want it. Linebackers, briefly, Kiko's been kind of off, but Wes Besainth has taken a step.
The gorilla.
He's been real good this year. Real good.
Yeah. Oh, he's one of those like kind of he's just a violent guy. I am so happy that play on the Cal quarterback was not called a targeting.
I know.
It's one of those calls that's always targeting, but it's the kind of call that I always am like, you gotta be kidding. Like, really, we're gonna call that? Like, sure, I guess he hit him like in the head.
I feel like it was a shoulder-to-shoulder hit. I mean, like, there was shoulder, there was forearm extension.
It's the forearm that saved him, I think.
I think so. There was maybe a little bit of kind of residual helmet-to-helmet contact, but that wasn't the focal point of the hit. The thing is, Mendoza is just a tall, lanky kid, and he got hit hard, so of course it's going to look bad.
Yeah.
But, we haven't seen a whole lot of our punter this year, which is a pretty good thing. We've been mostly doing touchdowns and interceptions, so we don't get to punt very often.
Sure.
Andres has looked good. The return game has been kind of mediocre, as it has for a while. I really
don't like the jerseys that they have to wear.
Yeah.
Are lots of other teams doing that?
No.
Maybe I'm just a casual fan, but like it seems like Miami very like specifically is like I didn't see any Alabama players with like a fake jersey on.
Well, here's the thing. Ray wears number 5, and CJ Clark, the defensive lineman, wears number 5. And I don't know whether or not he's on the punt team, like
Yeah.
as a big plug, but I think just so that they never have to worry about it, they're just like, we're giving the return guy a cover jersey.
Yeah.
And he's going to wear it, and it's stupid, but we're just going to do it.
Imagine if Devin Hester was like returning punts, but he was wearing like a fake like cover jersey for it.
Well, that
Just
actually
kind of ruins the coolness factor a little bit.
That came into play at Virginia Tech game because Isaiah Horton was in there for, the jump ball. He was the one who was ripping the ball out of the Virginia Tech's guy's hands, and he was wearing number 42.
Right.
So I remember on SportsCenter the next day, they name dropped whoever was 42 on the roster. Some like random walk on, and they're like, "Oh, so and so with the prize breakup," and it's like, not exactly, but I mean, at least he got his name on SportsCenter. That's cool.
Yeah, that's good. He gets some residual bonus for that.
So we talked about like some of the players, right? But let's think a little more big picture here. Where are you at in terms of the offense as a whole and the defense as a whole 6 games through the season?
Oh, Freed, we're just gonna at this point, I think I'm just like I'm happy. I'm like, we had a couple calls go our way. That happens. As long as we're undefeated, I'm cool with it. There's like I don't really have like too many notes to give. I feel like this has been a big step forward for Mario and like the eyes of everybody, all the Canes fans. Like,
yeah,
there haven't been any
game
like
management's been good. Well, at least it's worked out. Game management's one of those things where like if you win, then it's like, wow, he made the right choice. If you lose, what an idiot. But
yeah.
I haven't seen anything egregious. I think game management has been solid. The offense has been, frankly, elite. We're scoring 40 points a game. We just need the defense. I guess it depends. If we're trying to win games, then the defense is doing good enough. If we're trying to win a playoff game, we need the defense to improve. That's just, it is what it is. The defense is, I think the defense is somewhere like in the 30s by like total advanced statistics, SP plus. You get that down into the top 20, and Miami's a legitimate top 5 team, if not top 3. It's just small defensive improvements, really all it takes. And in order to get there, just gotta stop giving up massive chunk plays.
At least the ones that we've given up, like especially like in the Cal game, like we gave up a lot of like screen pass 80-yard plays.
That's right. We're not getting burnt on deep bombs. We're getting burnt on guys being out of position and or the one dude who's in position missing a tackle, and then it's off to the races. That was more Virginia Tech. Against Cal, it was more alignment and just kind of assignment. But yeah, they had like 4 passes of 50 yards or something like that, which is nuts. That's a lot.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like, the thing is, like, we could very well win out. We're favored to win the rest of our games. Like, it's not like something in like the SEC or the Big Ten where like, oh, we have to go play against Oregon this week. Like, then like we're not really gonna know what our team is. Like, even if they lose at Louisville in like a close game on the road, we're gonna be like, well, Louisville's a tough team. They could
but I mean,
5-1. Like,
we've proven where
we won't find out until we play Clemson in the championship.
If we get there, the ACC, we've proven with the last 2 weeks, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Like, unless we play Wake Forest, which we don't this year, or maybe you can't even say anything about like Virginia or Syracuse or Georgia Tech. Like, these are teams that are going to be competitive. Louisville is going to be competitive. Florida State, no matter how much they suck, even if they're a 3-win team, we're going to get their best, and it's going to be tight. We got Duke coming to Miami. Manny Diaz is going to be – I said in our preseason pod, that's the game I'm most scared of, and I still kind of stand by that. We have to go to Syracuse. We have to go to Georgia Tech, And then there's one more game that I'm forgetting about. Virginia, maybe? I think we play Virginia. So none of those games are free wins. I mean, we could win 3, we could win 4. Hell, we could lose out. Nobody knows. I don't think so. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Ward's healthy, we won't. But yeah,
at the end of the day, we're where we had hoped to be at 6-0 right now. I think we're exceeding expectations even by saying we're 6-0 right now. And we're in a position where we can afford to still lose one more game. And as long as we win, if we only lose one more game, odds are pretty good we're making the ACC championship. And chances are it's going to be Clemson. SMU, they're hanging out. Pitt's undefeated. Pitt and SMU play each other, and I believe Pitt and Clemson also play each other. So SMU has the easiest schedule, but I feel like Clemson is the better team. We'll just have to see how that shakes out. Let's talk about some of the other teams in college football a little bit, because we're halfway through the season, and Alabama has a loss, Georgia has a loss, Ohio State has a loss. Those were probably the 3 favorites, arguably, going into the season. I mean, a lot of people like Texas, and they're number 1 right now, about to play Georgia this weekend. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but just top 3 right now: Texas, Oregon, Penn State. What are your impressions?
I'm like, losing to a top 5 team at a top 5 team like means nothing to me, really. Like, at this point, like, all those games were like pretty competitive. Like, Ohio State versus Oregon, like, Ohio State wins that game at Ohio State, so that's a wash. Like, if that Alabama versus Georgia had been played at Georgia probably would have won. So, I mean, obviously, Alabama losing to Vanderbilt was like,
they're a top 5 team. I don't know about that.
But like,
Vandy's a top 5 team.
Vandy, no, but Vandy's
Fringe,
good though.
Fringe,
But
yeah, they're good.
Vandy's
they're good. They're a problem.
Vandy's like not who they are, like who they used to be. Like, this is like Vandy's big season, and it has been this year. So
let me give you Vanderbilt's ACC equivalent. That is Boston College with a healthy Castellanos at quarterback. That is the equivalent. They're just a dangerous team. Sorry to cut you off there. Carry on.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I'm really just, I think that because of, especially with the conference realignments and everything like that, like, they're going to be a couple 2-loss teams at the end of the year that are going to be very much, in the
playoffs,
competitive teams. So like, that's why I think the 12-team playoff is going to be, I think it's going to be fucking awesome. Like, I think that there's, especially with Saban being gone, there's a playing field leveling shift that's happening where there's more and more teams that are in the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's just going to make for a fun end of the season. And like we were saying, like, Miami, like, yeah, they could lose one, and I think we're still a good team and still have a chance. Like, I'm still at the point where I don't think Miami is like a national championship team.
Agreed.
But I think we're like we could be in that Final Four thing, especially if we end up winning the ACC. We get that bye. Like, who's to say? Like, we could find ourselves in a championship game and then lose to Texas by 30 points.
Sure. I mean, yeah, TCU, Washington, those are teams where in the old format they found their way to a championship game that they really never had a chance to win, but they were there. And yeah, I would agree. I think 6 games through the season, Miami is reaching their potential, which was always the high ceiling of this season was always winning one playoff game, in my opinion. And we're on the path to be there. I don't think there's a way that Miami gets to the national championship game this year. I just don't think they're good enough to compete with most of those teams.
I just want us to compete for an ACC championship team.
That's right. That's the first step. That's
the thing I've been saying for years now. It's like, I don't need us to I don't care if we really ever win a national championship, like
Whoa,
ever
whoa,
again.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Like,
whoa,
I
whoa.
really don't. Like, all that I want is for us to like be a team that like Penn State, that like is perennial, like always
That's
ranked,
selling us a little bit short.
always has a
You,
great
you want to be
team.
in the mix. You want to be in the mix.
Sure, I want to, but as far as like what it would make me happy, like if we can just finish in the top 25, like on a consistent basis and win whatever bowl game we find ourselves in, and then every once in a while we get a shot, in the college playoff and we win a game and then we lose a tough one to Georgia or whatever.
Yeah.
I
I
think
don't.
that's the kind of team we have right now. And so that, that's what I was
Yeah.
hoping that Mario could bring here.
I
So
don't remember the exact expectations I had going into the season, but I feel like what would have made me happy was being competitive in the ACC championship game. So
mhm.
be playing that game and being in the second half like we have a chance to win, not being down 21 to Clemson.
Yep.
And then getting into the playoffs and winning a game. Um, you can't have the second one if the first one doesn't happen.
This is what it is. The equivalent of the March Madness would be, we want to make it to the Sweet 16 this year.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's the kind of season that we're looking for.
Yeah, I agree. And so we're going to have a lot of SEC teams, a lot of Big Ten teams in the playoffs.
Mhm.
The Big 12 is in a worse spot than the ACC. The Big 12 is a one-bid conference. The ACC has the potential to be a two-bid conference, depending on how things shake out, I think. Clemson and Miami have both appear to be good enough to get at-large bids here. One of them probably wins the conference. But, yeah, I mean, to me, it seems like a one-loss Miami is in, whether or not they're conference champions, no matter where that loss comes, as long as you don't get blown out by Clemson in the ACC championship game or blown out by anybody. If you go 12-0 to the ACC championship
We won't get blown out
game,
by anybody except for Clemson.
I don't think we'll get blown out by anybody. I don't think anybody's blowing
That's
us
the
out.
spirit, Freed.
Yeah,
I want to fly like a Friedel to the
ACC championship game.
Very good, Freed. All right, Freed, we've told these Boochies enough about what we're thinking. We're here drinking the GT's Synergy, living in gratitude.
And we like it.
And it's rooty and hearty and wholesome. Freed, it's time for us to switch on over to the last final segment of the show, which is who we're picking.
Who we're picking. We got a big time week, baby. Big time week in college football. 3 ranked on ranked matchups.
Ranked.
Bama, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Michigan, Illinois. They're both still ranked, kind of. And sediment pick for the ages, the battle for Ohio. And no, Ohio State, you're not involved. We're talking about the fun ones. Ohio at the Miami of Ohio. Let's start with Alabama and Tennessee. Alabama on the road, 3-point favorites. I see Alex is writing stuff down, so I'm just going to go ahead and start. Tennessee looked like a lock for the playoffs for the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and now they look completely lost. They almost lost to Florida at home. They've scored something like a combined 10 points in the last 2 first halves against Arkansas and Florida, after scoring an average of like 50 points per half before then. So Tennessee, tale of 2 seasons. Which one is it? I want to see them bounce back at home against a Bama team that they're going to be excited to play. I think last week against Florida, maybe a little bit of a trap game, even though it's a rivalry. They may have looked past Florida. That's not happening with Alabama, whether Nick Saban's there or not. I'll take Tennessee with the free 3-point boost. Hopefully to win outright, but at least to cover.
I like it, Freed. I'm feeling the same way. Go Rocky Top. I feel like Florida. I'm hoping that Florida actually that like barely like close win over Florida actually ends up kind of proving to be a good win for them, because Florida ends up being not quite as bad as everybody thinks they are, which then makes Miami look good. So yeah, would love that win by association for Tennessee.
Yeah, everyone's already forgotten that Miami blew Florida out, unfortunately. Quick sidebar. Is it better or worse for Miami if Billy Napier doesn't get fired?
Good.
Yeah, I agree.
You want to go with the person that you know and the one that you just beat. They
Yeah.
bring in somebody new, then there's the question, oh, maybe it was just the coach. Who's to say who's the next person that'll come in and turn the program around?
Yeah, I mean, odds are they lose to Kentucky and he gets fired next week. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, DJ Lagway goes back to Texas A&M where he belongs, or maybe even to Miami. Who knows? But moving on down, Georgia at Texas. Texas 5-point favorites. I don't think Georgia has been 5-point dogs in like 5 years. Who are you picking here?
Well, Freed, you can take the points if you want them, but I'm taking Texas. Hook 'em horns. I think Texas is fully back. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm supporting my cousin Chazzy, who's a big Texas fan, even though he didn't go there. I am pulling for Texas, and I think Texas shows the SEC what's up. Steve Sarkisian, baby, he's back.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you here. And once again, I'm going to take a 5-point boost and I'm going to take Georgia. And here's why. 2 reasons, kind of. We'll start on the Georgia side. If you take out the first quarter against Alabama, they win that game and they're undefeated and they're number 1. And this looks a lot different. Obviously, you can't revise history, but that was a game in Tuscaloosa where Alabama just came out with their hair on fire, put 28 points up before Georgia knew what hit them. I don't see them going into Texas and looking stupefied the way they were in Alabama. Isn't a rivalry game per se, so I mean, obviously everyone's going to be excited for it, but the emotions are just going to be a little different. Texas, on the other hand, who have they really beaten? Let's look at this a little bit more skeptically. They beat Michigan early in the year, which at the time looked like a good win, but it turns out Michigan's not good. Of course, they just took down Oklahoma in dominant fashion, but Oklahoma also not good. So I wouldn't be shocked if Texas goes out and wins this game, and then we'll say, okay, you know what? They're legit. They're for real. And don't get me wrong, they're good. I think they're top 5 team, but I just think Georgia's still at the top of the mountain. And if you're giving me 5 points, all day.
All right. Go ahead and take it, Freed. Speaking of Michigan, next up we've got the Big Blue Michigan folks coming in, 3.5-point favorites at the Fighting Illini of Illinois, who is a sleeper pick to crack into the top 12 here, Freed. Who do you have?
This is no orgy party. Like I said, Michigan, not good. I'll take Liddyville. Another dog. Just give me the points.
Wow, he's taking Illinois. I'm going to go with my favorite team, Big Blue Michigan, because I always like to choose the teams that my friends root for. And Illinois, prove it, Illinois. Fighting Illini. Yeah, right.
Sorry, Lauren.
All right. There we go, Freed. All right. Freed, it's time for us to down the last of our living in gratitude. But before we do, as promised before, I will read the prayer of gratitude. It's also kind of confusing because there's like multiple prayers in here. Okay. Prayer of gratitude. This is from the GT Synergy Living in Gratitude bottle. Prayer of gratitude. In this present moment, may grace envelop you and open your heart wide to the here and now. In this sacred space, may gratitude grow inside of you and reveal the profound beauty of life. And then you say, Freed, you say the part below it. That was horrific.
I was not following along with the reader.
Yeah, please don't put yourself on mute. Just cough and burp and fart directly into the microphone. This is great stuff out of you.
I'm just going to say thank you to our Lord and Savior, Mario Cristobal, for being absolutely relentless on the trail this past recruiting season and not giving up on Cameron Ward and telling him we need him because we did. We needed him. We still need him, and we will need him all season. Thank you, Mario Cristobal. Thank you for keeping Cam Ward healthy, Coach Feld. Thank
Freed,
you.
I didn't ask for you to do your own custom one. You're supposed to read from the bottle. It says, I open my eyes to gratitude by opening my heart to love. I am rooted in this practice
for
for
its
its
generosity
generosity knows no
no
bounds.
bounds.
Stick to the script, Freed. I don't care about what your freaking love fest with Mario Cristobal. Bottoms up, Freed. It's time for the sediment pick.
I already drank mine, dude.
That's so disgusting. That's foul what you're doing there.
I was told. Listen, somebody told me this
Awful
episode.
performance, yeah.
Somebody told me not to click on my mouse because it's too loud.
Yeah, and yet this is what I get. All right, I guess I'll do it. Sediment pick. We have Ohio, the freaking Cats of Ohio, at the Red Hawks of Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio favored by 2.5 at home. Who do you have here, Freed, for the Battle of Ohio?
MIAMIOHIO. I'll take the Hawks.
I'm taking them as well. Freed, got to take our name brethren. We kind of had a nice little coming a moment last season where it was Miami versus Miami, and there was some fun trash talk, and then we kicked their ass. So I will be rooting for Miami, Ohio, in that game there. Freed,
easy team to root for.
Why not?
Unlike the other Redbirds that we're talking about this week, Miami at Louisville. Miami favored by 5. You said so. Do you have your score prediction? Because I got.
I sure don't.
All right. Let me know when you got it, and then I'll go first. Or let me know when you're almost there.
I've got it.
All right. Let's start this thing up here. I think the last 2 weeks I've had a feeling, that little bit of despair.
Like the Black Eyed Peas? Oh, no, never mind.
Mazel tov.
Move it.
I just had the sense that something was going down, and kind of came true. But we got the wins. I feel better after the bye week. I feel good. The bye week's always been a problem, but it's time. It's different this time, right? That's what we keep saying. Miami back to 40 points.
Like me and all my relationships.
Yeah, a 41-point performance from Miami. And the defense comes alive in the first half. We do our thing. We get out in front, and we stay out in front. 41-24. Miami cruises.
I love that, Freed. I think it's going to be a little tighter because it's on the road, but I still think that we come away with the win. I got Canes 36, Louisville 30.
Yeah, okay. That'll be tight. So we got a 15 points and a 6 points. The Booch ball spread is set at 10.5.
How do you calculate these things?
People.
Oh my God. Couldn't have planned it any better than that.
Oh, the ETF5 bot is in trouble.
That was like a burp that happened in your chest, didn't it? I could almost see that happening there.
We got one more thing left to rate on this episode. GT's Living in Gratitude. This will be the second time we had it on the show, imagine.
Yep.
And I've got to say, pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. I would agree, Freed. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the original score that we have here. Do you have a final score?
I do have my final score. Yeah, I have my final score. Shall I share?
What is it?
I didn't want to jump the gun. All right. Look, GTs, this Living in Gratitude. I'm not saying you got to put it out all year long, but you got to expand the seasons a little bit because I'm going to tell you this. Unity, Summer Edition, ass.
Yeah, not good.
The flower one that comes in the spring, also ass. Do they do a winter? Or is it just fall edition around all winter?
Yeah, I don't think they do a winter one. I know like the Snickerdoodle.
Yeah, we get the Snickerdoodle. But anyway, I guess my point would be
No, they do. Remember they do that Christmassy one? There's like a wreath.
Is that the
Yeah.
like roses or something? Love?
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
Love. Love's their winter edition, isn't it?
GTs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
It's like a white bottle with a green wreath and like red on it. It's like chocolatey almost.
No, that's healthy, dude.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Holiday
You're right.
cheers.
That's exactly what I was thinking
That's
of.
holiday cheers.
You got
Pero,
me.
like, regardless, all I'm saying, bro, is you take the fog gratitude and you push it a little bit, a teensy tiny bit.
A
You
little
push it
bit.
into summer. You push it into summer and you push
What's
it
your
back.
score, Freed?
It's delicious. 8.2 certified. G.
Whoa, 8.2. Freed, I think you're on the right track. I'm going to say not so fast, sweetheart. But we're right in the same ballpark. Not quite delicious because this started weighing on me a little bit. Maybe it's because I have already eaten a soup, a hearty soup, and I already have a hoodie on and sweatpants. I'm kind of feeling too hot right now. So the spices and the heaviness started getting to me a little bit, but still cannot deny that this is a top tier Booch. Highly recommended, right at that threshold of deliciousness. Call it a 7.9 from me, dog.
All right. Not too bad on the scoreboard. That's going to tie for your. You gave the pomegranate an 8. So this is your second best Booch of the year. This is my favorite Booch of the year. So ETF 5 bot, what says you? Beep, 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 cough, cough, cough. And we got a 8.05. And that is enough to go into first place on season 5 of Booch Ball.
Wow,
For the Booch of the year. You know what, though? 12 teams, 12 Booches. I think all the Booches make the playoffs this season.
Oh, yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
That's really
we're
interesting.
not going to do that, though. We're not going to do that.
It could be interesting, though. It could be fun.
Hey, Alex, give me some gratitude real quick. You read the bottle. Tell me what you're thankful for.
Oh, let's see. I'm thankful for my friends and my family. I'm thankful that my old roommates from New Haven, Connecticut, Eric and Rachel, just got engaged this past weekend, which we were all very excited about. I was kind of pissed that they didn't FaceTime me like from the engagement ceremony, but
Just kidding.
you cut me off. I'm obviously grateful for you and all of your belching sneeze.
That's right. Don't forget it. Don't forget it.
God bless you. God bless America. And as always,
stay cultured. Peace.